KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless you. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show right here is called First Things First, and my first thing today, especially today, but every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. We've got a lot to talk about today and every day. So the way we do the show Monday through Thursday, which differs from Friday, because Friday we do our Freedmen Fridays, reparations conversation, pivotal weekly discussion. But what differs Monday through Friday, we do hour one, look local, what's going on around here. We're broadcasting from Leimert Park, Africatown, USA, West Coast point of view. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a hot topic or a hot person or somebody who's embodying both. We have that today. Hour three, we will be getting in the Christmas spirit, the holiday spirit, and fulfilling one of your requests. Since we put the PSA on about Walk Good LA, I've had a couple of people asking to have the folks behind it in here. Well, Etienne Maurice will be joining us hour three in the studio. He is the founder of Walk Good LA, but also one of the stars of a new movie called Mistletoe and Matrimony. So that'll be a fun conversation and hopefully uplifting and inspiring. Hour two, I'll be joined by Dr. Melina Abdullah, the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, former vice presidential candidate, political science professor, lead organizer with BLM LA, and we do have a lot to talk about. We're definitely going to unpack the new Dred Scott verdict, the Jordan Neely decision, which seems to affirm that it's okay to kill black people in America. And poor people are not valued, that unhoused people are not valued. We'll go a little deeper into that hour two, but we can talk about it now if you want. 800-920-1580. You know how we do. 800-920-1580. This hour, it's you and me and Miles in our microphones. And I think this issue of the young dancer who was murdered by a white former Marine on a New York subway is very much resonating here in Los Angeles, at least for me, because so many of the issues that come to the surface, so many of the challenges, so many of the moral failings of my beloved country are embodied in this one incident, right? You have the disrespect and exaggerated fear. I'm putting air quotes around fear of the black man. You have the devaluing of the lives of poor people and the unhoused. You have lack of resources and care for those in crisis and mental health crisis, right? We criminalize that. And whatever those family dynamics are, they seem to be terrible. And then, of course, the big bad wolf, the ever-present stalker of our community, which is white supremacy, the philosophy of white supremacy, the delusion of white supremacy. I invite you to call in, 800-920-1580. Also want to pay tribute to Nikki Giovanni, the poet, who made her transition at the age of 81. She had lung cancer. But what a dynamo, what an inspiration. I mean, as a poet, as an activist, as an author, as a public intellectual, as a woman, rest in peace, Nikki Giovanni. You know, my own father, Mary Baraka, is known as the father of the Black arts movement. And my godmother, Audre Lorde, is also part of that movement. but Nikki Giovanni was central to the Black arts movement, where we really saw a resurgence, a conscious resurgence of the role of art and activism, art and politics. And I I predict, I believe, and I feel like we're already seeing it with this hunger for Kendrick Lamar's album, um, art going to work in tough times. And these are undoubtedly tough times. Artists putting on their hard hats and getting ready to encourage, inspire, inform, educate us through these tough times. Um, I only got to interview Miss Giovanni one time, many years ago. I actually produced a show where I had booked her for others to interview, but I remember when I talked to her, that conversation long ago, 2 radio stations ago, to be exact. One of the things she said that really changed my perspective in a way. I mean, I've always been, if not an abolitionist, a radical reimaginist. Like, I just don't think reform of our prison, our carceral and policing system by little tinkering around the edges, that doesn't cut it. If you look at the outcomes we're getting, it's not cutting it. And one of the things she said to me and she advocated for was that people who are incarcerated, people who are in prison, state, county, federal prison, should be able to vote, even if they've been convicted. Where does it say in the Constitution or anywhere else that when you commit a crime and you're paying your so-called debt to society, you lose your right to vote? We're not there yet. I mean, this was many years ago. And to me, it's just an example of how brilliant she was and is. Obviously an accomplished performer, an incredible writer who impacted some of us, especially artists and activists who didn't even realize we were influenced by her. So rest in peace, Nikki Giovanni. Sahara Ali said it on yesterday in our Mindful Monday. We may be in a season of saying goodbye. It seems like many times it's true during the holidays, but perhaps even more than usual now. We seem to be in a season of saying goodbye, and I feel like Nikki Giovanni, represents the ultimate of a life well lived, an impactful life, a life well lived as an artist, as a woman, and as an activist. So rest in peace to her. And good morning, all. Jamie Kazee says the system is not designed to convict a white Marine. Yeah, I think that's right. The judicial system, the mindset system of our country, and clearly, prosecutors have some responsibility in this, but there's so much more to it than that. I mean, I think what makes this so depressing for me is it's just another episode of the Negro or the African American has no rights, which a white man is bound to recognize, to honor, that we remain, even though in theory we have now made some progress. And I am one who does feel we've made progress. I know that, like my father used to say, it's like Sisyphus. You roll the rock up the hill and then it rolls back down. But 3 steps forward, 2 steps back is still progress, right? We have the new Confederate Republican Party in control of every aspect of our government right now. But we still have a black Supreme Court justice. We still have an elevated consciousness that we've achieved in the last 10, 20 years. And so I do believe we have made progress, but yet the bottom line is still Jordan Neely gets no justice. Woo! And we fight on. Jasmine Haley says, rest in power. Nikki Giovanni. Paul Lee, rest in peace to our great black queen, Nikki Giovanni. Indeed. And Courtney Edwards says, God bless. Morning, my KBLA people. We're losing a lot of the greatest progressive-minded brothers and sisters. We got them in the spirit. May she rest in power. Yeah, they're always with us in spirit. Their legacy, their writing. In her case, there's a video archive. There's always their work, and we continue to stand on their shoulders. And there is a new generation. I know y'all don't, y'all like to talk smack about millennials, and which is Gen Y and Gen Z and Gen A, but actually they show, in my opinion, steady progress. In some of the areas where they're showing progress are areas that are blind spots for those of us in Gen X and the boomers and the greatest generation. 800-920-1580 if you've got something to say about it. Much to unpack here and much to unpack in the nation that touches us here. We are still unapologetically progressive. No matter who's in the White House, we are KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Did you know that 1 in 6 African American men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer? This month, every time you purchase Gillette's family of products, they'll donate to support Movember. Whether you're looking for Gillette's Best Shave, a regimen to help prevent new shave irritation and bumps, or award-winning beard care products, every Gillette purchase can make a difference in the fight against prostate cancer. Visit pggoodeveryday.com/Movember for details. Exclusions apply.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station. And your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Talk to me, poem. I'm all alone. Nobody understands what I'm saying. Have you been in jail, poem? A lot of poems go to jail, like a lot of women who get tired of no good men. Do no good poems beat up on people? Do no good poems say I'm sorry the next day? I know poems are lost because they're always being found. They're on wanted posters, milk bottles, and lonesome guitars in the night looking for a poem to take home. I know poems get neglected just like doo-wop singing on the back porch and deacons opening church with leaning on the everlasting arms. People forgot what got them over, what saved them. What are your plans, poem? Give it up. I hear you're a rap star now, going for the Grammy and the gold. Everybody's singing your praises. Do you ever miss your home? The sign on I-81 North says shoulders are for emergency only. Ride me, poem. I think I've got the blues.
Nikki Giovanni on Def Poetry Jam. Yeah, and you know, so she was a Gemini like me, so we're going to be on this microphone, but I feel like she, you know, was able to process so many things for us, having grown up, you know, in a household where her dad abused her mom, having graduated from an HBCU, Fisk, to be exact, where she graduated with honors, even though it took her a few years because she got in trouble because she was protesting on campus and had to take a hiatus from school, but then ended up graduating. A reminder of, you know, where we are today. So many of our student protesters who are going to be where society will try to shut them down, ruin their careers, ruin their lives, will be leaders, intellectual leaders, artistic leaders, et cetera, et cetera. Rest in peace, Ms. Giovanni. You know, one of her quotes, which is written as an example of her work in the LA Times. I love so much. Well, read it in context. I love this line, "Black love is black wealth." But she says, I really hope no white person ever has cause to write about me because they never understand black love is black wealth, and they'll probably talk about my hard childhood and never understand that all the while I was quite happy. Insights. Bars, Miles. Bars, for real. I'm hoping that when our giants pass, it gives us inspiration to go back and, you know, read a book. Crack a book. Read some of her writings. Read... or listen to some of her writings. If you're not a reading type of character, there's stings on YouTube. All right. We've had so much going on that I feel like I never get caught up on a lot of what's going on in the world, in the nation. And I want to do some of that right now. I invite you to call. The palate cleanser for my day, for your day. We talk about reparations on Fridays, but we don't have to only talk about it Friday. I think we all could be talking about it every day. There's a group of Japanese Americans called the National Nikkei Reparations Coalition. And they have decided to do a full court press in pushing President Joe Biden, yes, he's still the president, to grant reparations to the survivors of the Tulsa race massacre. They want him to do it. Obviously, he doesn't have too much time. His term ends January 20th, a little over a month away. And these are the descendants of people who got reparations from the U.S. government for their internment during World War II. They've released a statement. Given the outcome of the 2024 presidential election, we implore President Biden and his administration to use executive powers to deliver reparations before the end of his presidential term to Ms. Viola Ford Fletcher and Ms. Leslie Benningfield Randall, the two known living survivors of the Tulsa Coalition. This is, obviously all Japanese Americans. They actually had a delegation that's visited Greenwood on more than one occasion to try to put in some work to push for reparations for these people. And they're also making this call at a really important time, which is that there's a deadline, December 31st, for the Department of Justice to deliver their report on the race massacre of 1921, the Black Wall Street white supremacist riot, massacre, in which the police department, as we well know now, finally, actually bombed a black community from the sky. Now, thousands of white people, a white mob, which was under the protection of the city government, destroyed an entire neighborhood called the Greenwood District. They killed at least 300 men and women and children. People were forced out of their homes. Some were forced into internment camps around the city. None ever got their property back, their money back. There was no insurance company covering their losses. And so I think in this time when Merriam-Webster's dictionary has dubbed the word of the year as polarization, it's important to track these moments of victory, moments of coalition, at a time when we look at the results of the election, and as black people, we, at least I, let me speak for myself in this moment, in some ways feel that we as black people stood alone in trying to ward off the emergence of totalitarianism and the domination of the philosophy of white supremacy. This moment, and I was looking at some data this morning in the LA Times. 51% of Latinos, according to them, voted for Kamala Harris. 51%. That would have been a loss for Harris if it wasn't for the women. So you see that gender gap. You see, a small gender gap with black people, but black men overwhelmingly voting to ward off the encroachment of fascism and neo-Nazi Confederate philosophers. Well, it didn't work. I mean, we know there are some bright spots in local governments. We know the House of Representatives, it may be a bright spot, but all of that said, I just wanted to share that with you. This is a coalition that was created in 2022, and it's all organizations who support reparations for those of us Americans who are the descendants of chattel slavery. And there are Japanese Americans, there are black Americans, there are Latinos, there are others. They're all part of this coalition that first started calling for, a reparations study on the federal level, that H.R. 40, which is another petition and lobbying drive that's going on. And, seems that Biden is too busy, pledging his eternal love to Netanyahu to heed these calls. However, if you want to sign the petition, it's at reparationsunited.org, telling Biden to sign an executive order on reparations. Couldn't agree more. And it's nice to see that these calls, and this one specifically for the descendants of the Black Wall Street, are coming from many quarters, not just our community. The National Nikkei Reparations Coalition being one of them. News, traffic, and sports, then it's the perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. I am Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bray Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. Alex Jones is back in a Texas courtroom trying to block the sale of InfoWars assets to The Onion. A judge will decide if the bankruptcy auction was run properly. Elon Musk aims to make the government more efficient, working with the new congressional caucus co-chaired by Pete Sessions. Sessions wants to roll back the work-from-home movement, citing decreased efficiency. New York restaurants and bars can now accept mobile IDs to verify age. While not mandatory, officials expect businesses to adopt them due to demand. Mobile IDs protect personal data and are available on Apple's App Store and Google Play. And holiday tipping varies by service, with mail carriers and trash collectors getting around $20, while housekeepers and childcare providers receive about $50. A bank rate analyst says a good rule is to tip the cost of one service. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Is this the
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For the third straight week, UCLA has the nation's #1 women's college basketball team. The 9-0 Bruins have been ranked #1 since they upset defending national champion South Carolina on November 24th. UCLA is back in action Saturday at Long Beach State. USC's women's basketball team is ranked 5th this week. The Trojans are 8-1. They're at home tonight against Fresno State. The Lakers and Clippers have a nice schedule break. Both teams are off until Friday. The Lakers are at Minnesota. The Clippers are at Denver. The 4 finalists for this year's Heisman Trophy Award were announced Monday. Colorado wide receiver defensive back Travis Hunter, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, University of Miami quarterback Cam Ward, and Boise State running back Ashton Genty. The award for college football's best player will be presented Saturday in New York City. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So, how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
On behalf of her precious family, it is with profound sadness that KBLA Talk 1580 announces the passing of our beloved colleague, Robin Ayers, on Thursday, December 5th. Robin was a bright light. You could see her radiant smile through the radio. We all respected her immense talent, loved her jovial spirit, celebrated her love of family, and honored her faith in God. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robin's entire family, most especially her husband Rob and her twin daughters Brooklyn and Madison. We ask you to join us in praying for the Ayers family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. In her honor, all this week, we're broadcasting the best of the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, so last time I had insurance, I got hit with huge bills every time I saw the doctor.
You gotta get a plan with low copays and no deductibles. That's what those big bills are. I got a plan through Covered California. Now it doesn't cost so much to go see a doctor.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they have a bunch of options like that, so you can find one that works for you and your cash flow.
I can swing that.
We all have questions. Covered California has answers and can find a health plan that's right for you. Covered California, this way to health insurance.
I was so excited when I heard this sandwich was back. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken. It's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet. But either way,
you're getting a winner.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy fillet, now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
The revolution will not be televised.
This is Brother Cornell West.
My dear brothers and sisters, I'm full of joy and delight to announce that I'm joining the precious family at KBLA Talk 1580, founded and led by my dear, dear brother Tavis Smiley himself. Yes, the name of the show is Truth Time, and I'll be working with the inimitable Nina Turner out of Cleveland, Ohio, sister of great vision, and we will be on weekdays at 12 noon. We will be following Brother Tavis Smiley's show. We will begin Monday, January the 6th. That's right, Monday, January the 6th. Get ready for a different kind of insurrection. We coming with Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin, and gonna add a little Gil Scott Heron too, as Nina Simone sits at the center. That's right.
The revolution will be live.
That's what we gonna do. Please come with us on this fantastic voyage.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. Big things going on around here at KBLA Talk 1580. We never stop. Tavis Smiley with this vision. And yeah, you're definitely going to, you're going to want to stick with us as usual. Look, okay, so I said we were going to catch up on a few things going on in the world. I wanted to highlight something positive. They're talking about passing a law here in California to label social media. This is, meant to give parents tools to make them consider limiting social media use. And Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, not familiar with her, she's a Democrat out of Orinda, saying that they're proposing this bill that would make social media companies put warning labels on their platforms. It's Assembly Bill 56. Of course, it's going to be fiercely opposed by the tech industry, and I don't know how that looks or how it plays out in the current Republican administration, because I feel like the head of the FCC, well, the man who the 45th president says he's appointing as the head of the FCC, has already indicated that he plans to take the liberal bias out of social media. The LOL is provided by me, because if you have been on social media, you know that it is not the right wing that is overly moderated on those platforms. But anyway, I don't know how that holds up under that administration. And I wonder if it helps, right? Does a warning label help? I don't know. We kind of all know that tobacco kills us and people still smoke. Social media is addictive, like nicotine, like heroin. I mean, I've never done heroin. I have puffed a cigarette back in high school. It's highly addictive. And so I don't know what warning labels will do, but I guess nice try. I think we've got to look at, we really have to look at media literacy. It's like trying to stop your kid from listening to sexual or drug promoting content in entertainment, whether that be film, television, or streamers, or whether it be music, right? It's there. And just like when I was younger, we used to find a way to get our hands on 2 short tapes, even though there was no Spotify. We got it out the trunk of somebody's car. However we got it. Everybody shared it. It went all around the neighborhood. You can't be with your kid 24 hours a day. I'm not saying don't. I think social media platforms should moderate more, particularly for content that will radicalize people towards white supremacy and authoritarianism, because we see that's happening. We see it unfolding. But that said, I do think when it comes to AI. In fact, Miles and we were talking about this the other day. When it comes to AI, when it comes to understanding the content that's coming across your phone, your laptop, your desktop, we have to get the knowledge in our heads. And we've got to get it into our children's heads. How do you tell the truth from a lie? How do you tell an AI from a real piece of content? How do you distinguish a deep fake from something that's actual? How do you tell a story that is based on lies or is just really like an infomercial from real news? And there's a skill set. Media literacy is a thing, and I think we need to start teaching it, adding a social media component to it, and teaching it in elementary school. When you look at the way suicide rates and self-images are being impacted by little kids on social media, I think we are going to have to do that. It's not the all-knowing answer because you're still fighting an algorithm that has a leg up on you, especially as a small child. But these are tools that we must start prioritizing. I remember many, many years ago interviewing an expert on media literacy, and many of the things that I automatically do, that we as Black people automatically do, are actually protective. And I'll give you an example. You're watching TV, you see a commercial, and you're talking to the television. That's stupid. Nobody does that. How could that be possible? That's good. When we do that around our children, we teach them to question the official story, to follow the money, to use our critical thinking, our whole brain when watching media content, and not just lay there like little junkies letting mis and disinformation pour into our heads. And I think there is some wisdom to limiting our intake, not just our kids' intake, our own intake. How many minutes, hours, seconds a day do you give yourself away from your phone, away from social media? Ha! I say it like that because I am guilty AF. I'm scrolling my life away. But becoming more conscious of that, and definitely there is a time, which is, and like I say, I'm not a tech alarmist. There is a time. Every day for me, I take time to sit down and meditate. Almost every day. And that is a guaranteed brain break, right? Call me, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. That's a question. Will it help? And what else should we be doing to protect ourselves? Not just our children, ourselves, and our society, because so much of these dumb ideas and silly arguments. I have a friend, maybe a colleague is a better description, who I see on social media. And I've known this man for many, many years, interviewed him many times. And the change in his mindset from when we first met in the 90s to now, it's just stunning. Full manosphere. How does that happen? I don't know, what happened in that person's life, or maybe they always, had that somewhere inside of them, but it certainly wasn't, it wasn't where it is now. It's very disturbing. Disturbing is Daniel Penny. Can't wait to unpack that with Dr. Melina Abdullah, because as she pointed out in a private conversation yesterday, this man found not guilty in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely also got rich off it. He didn't just get away with murder. He got rich off of it to the tune of millions. More on that later. I suppose we'll also spend some time, I know we'll spend some time talking about Luigi Mangione, the Italian-American who was arrested, charged with murder for the shooting of the CEO of United Healthcare. And, arrested in a McDonald's. Apparently spent some time at Stanford and worked for a California company for a while, so he's ties here. Whoops. Sorry, that was my laptop talking to you. He has ties here in the U.S., so, I mean, here in California, my U.S. I don't know if I'm coming out of my corner on the left coast once January 20th passes. Just playing. I'm on team stand fight. But they caught him, and the online conversation, you talk about misinformation, disinformation, what to believe. The conspiracy theories are out of control. And I can kind of understand it, because you catch a guy and he has the murder weapon, a manifesto, supposedly the murder weapon. He's got a ghost gun. He has a manifesto about how he doesn't like, capitalism. Like, why would you throw away your backpack with Monopoly money but keep all of the evidence against you? That does seem rather sus. But, that plus people are a little cray-cray on socials. It's a rather long rabbit hole to go down. Same with the Jay-Z. Those threads are off the hook right now. Everybody's got a theory. But I agree with something I saw yesterday in the chat room here on YouTube, which you can jump in if you go to KBLA 1580 on YouTube, which is, let's see the evidence. Let's let the truth unfold. Turns, yeah, okay. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward. 800-920-1580 is the spot. Hook up with us on social media, KBLA 1580 on all platforms. I am at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. I would appreciate your like, your follow, even your mean comment. Well, no, talk to me nicely. KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been hearing me guest host here on KBLA Talk 1580, and I'm having a blast. But I'm excited about joining the official lineup here at KBLA Talk 1580 starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. Start your day with First Things First and Dominique DiPrima at 6 a.m. Check out Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Tune into Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon, and then tap in with me on The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. weekdays. I served 17 years in the U.S. Congress, and I can tell you it's going to be a rough 4 years, so let's navigate this journey together. It's The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, turning here to some super local headlines. There's a fire called the Franklin Fire that has just raging right now in Malibu. It's we were told yesterday there was extreme fire danger, and apparently that is true. Now it's burning on both sides of the PCH. About half of the town of Malibu is under evacuation orders. That's about 6,000 people. The other half on an evacuation warning. And the students, Pepperdine is in Malibu. So the students there have a shelter-in-place order. They're in the middle of their finals. So obviously those classes are canceled. And this is a dangerous fire because the wind is whipping right now in the 50 to 80 mile per hour winds. It's meant to die down around noon, but that's got firefighters, back to the wall for hours still to come. About 2,000 buildings already affected by that mandatory evacuation order, and more will be on standby right now, apparently near the Malibu Pier and around Malibu Way. This is where the flames have jumped to both sides of the freeway. If you know Malibu, it's really one road in and one road out for the most part, which is Pacific Coast Highway, which is a windy coastal road, and one side of it is where most of the homes are, although there are some along the beach, and the other side is where the beach is. Some residents just had to pack up and get out with hardly any time at all, and that's where we are. If at this point until we see a change in conditions and these Santa Ana winds die down, you just have to be evacuation ready if you live in these fire danger areas, which are some of the most beautiful and scenic parts of Southern California. Some of the roads are closed there. There's shelters set up in Malibu. And it looks pretty scary. Looks pretty scary. Yeah. So, it's like when these natural disasters hit, you want to give advice, thoughts and prayers sounds hella weak, but prayer does work, and I'm just feeling for people this idea of having to pack whatever. It's not pack. If you've got 3 minutes to flee, it's not pack. It's grab what you can and get the heck out. So prayers going to the community there in Malibu. And I was starting to talk a little about Jay-Z because I went down the rabbit hole a little bit yesterday in my scrolling. It's just a lot. I mean, if you're Jay-Z, right, you're a billionaire. You've been in the spotlight for a long time. I mean, how many years has Jay been in the spotlight? 30 plus? I don't know, long time. Anyway, so there's pictures, there's theories, there's song lyrics. All of it is up on the internet. And I do feel like something I saw, some wisdom in our KBLA YouTube yesterday, which is that let's let the facts speak. I know that there's a lot of abuse in the music industry. I've actually been the victim of some of it myself, to be honest with you. Still trying to decide whether to put that in my book or not. It's not about Jay-Z, okay? It's just an example. But the point is, there's also a lot of opportunism, and I do believe victims should be listened to. I brought up the example of Al Franken yesterday because that to me is a miscarriage of justice because there was no investigation. In this case, there will have to be because there will be a trial. So let's see the facts. Let's not jump to conclusions. I know the guy's friends with Diddy, and he's not the only one who knew what was going on and didn't jump into action. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he is guilty. I think he deserves due process. I was talking with some young people yesterday who felt convinced that Jay-Z is guilty. But again, we all deserve our day in court. We all deserve a chance to for the facts to be heard. So I'm going to leave that right there for now. Who's such a hypocrite? Me? Terrence Pettis? If you think so, call me. 800-920-1580. Maybe, I don't know. I guess we're all a little hypocritical in some ways, but I don't think so. It's true, Diddy hasn't had his day in court, but he's been seen on tape. It's been an open secret in the industry for years. There is, I guess there's been a community conversation. So, okay, Terrence, well, why don't you call me? You scared? 800-920-1580. I dare you. I dare you. Call me. If you're going to name call, I don't believe in name calling. I believe you could say that's a hypocritical viewpoint and here's why. And I do my best not to name call. Occasionally it does happen. I like to attack policies and positions rather than people. I'm not a hypocrite. I am occasionally, I struggle with contradictions. I think this is an area where we all struggle with contradictions. You want to believe the victims. And we know that there's a lot of abuse in the industry, in the entertainment industry, in corporate America. And you also want to be fair, right? You want to give people a chance. Same energy I gave R. Kelly, I see. Well, listen, homie, why don't you call? I dare you. 800-920-1580. R. Kelly, you saw him on tape. R. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was a child. It didn't need a trial. He played it out in front of our eyes. Okay? So I don't find that hypocritical at all. Not at all. And you say you've been waiting for this day? Good, because that means you've been listening to me this whole time, and I do appreciate that. I really do. I will concede that, there are contradictions, and I think I'm not the only one that struggles with this. I don't believe anyone's music should be banned, not even R. Kelly. Everyone should make their choices and vote with their dollars. If you want to listen to that, that's on you. I don't want to listen to him anymore. It gives me a nauseated feeling. It just does. That's not a judgment, an intellectual judgment. It's a visceral reaction. Just like I turn up when I hear certain other music. So I feel like all of us should vote with our hearts, with our taste, with our gut. I don't have that feeling when I listen to Michael Jackson. I like to hear Michael Jackson. So I trust myself on that. I do think people have a right to be innocent until proven guilty. I do believe that. But if you do something right in front of me, I don't need a jury of your peers. If you are abusing little kids on video and marrying children to keep yourself out of jail, I don't need a whole trial. I can look at that and say, nah, you foul. And I don't consider that hypocrisy. However, I thank you, Mr. Terrence, for listening. I really do. Sometimes, being that African you love to hate is a position of privilege, or agreeing to disagree, or disagreeing without disrespect, But I invite you in. Come on in, 800-920-1580. I love, actually, the YouTube, even though I'm daring Terrence to call. He doesn't have to call, because I love the fact that you can express yourself in this chat room, or hit me on socials. Not everybody wants to get on the mic. I get that. I just like it when you come and play with me. 800-920-1580. Let's make each other smarter. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIA News. Alex Jones is back in a Texas courtroom trying to block the sale of InfoWars assets to The Onion. A judge will decide if the bankruptcy authority officials expect businesses to adopt them due to demand. Mobile IDs